This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 23rd day of April in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Demolition teams from the Ministry of Public Works were in standby today, awaiting the government's green light to remove a number of food caravans and prefab structures which house mini restaurants and bars lining the Georgetown Seawall. The move comes just one day after the Ministry of Public Works and the Sea Defense Board informed vendors that those immobile structures between Camp Street and Vlesingian Road will be removed completely to make way for a government enhancement project. 44-year-old businesswoman Akeisha Coates said she returned to Guyana to invest in the tourism and hospitality industry. She operates a small restaurant and bar along the Seawall and was doing so with the full permission of the same Ministry of Works that is now moving to demolish the business place.
Yesterday now we went and buy a brand new cooler, 250,000, and a stove and bring it in. They call me 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock say come in for meeting. When I go in, they're saying that you can remember that whatever we had on this contract, you have to abide by that. You gotta be mobile. But now Mr. Hamer is here this morning saying, okay, the roof is okay, but the roof is not mobile. My container is mobile, but now they're saying the container have to move, which is mobile. So, ma'am, let me tell you, I went through up and down, and I just think it's the whole intention, I could see it from the beginning. From the contract, it was to frustrate people.
Coates explained that back in 2021, she received permission from the Sea Defense Board to operate a mobile food caravan on the Seawall, and the contract to that effect was signed. However, it was not until December of 2022 that she secured the caravan in the form of a container. She explained that after an 8-month hiatus due to the seizure of her caravan, she was again allowed to sell out of the structure once it was painted and kept clean. Coates said due to the inclement weather, she was forced to erect a shed.
They came and they see me whilst I was building, and they said, we'll give you permission to build the roof. I said, well, I didn't realize that you got to get permission because I see everybody else putting on a roof in front. And they said, okay, they're going back. They called me for meeting and they said, okay, it's okay. You could go ahead and do what you're doing. They like it.
She said the contract, which specifies only mobile structures, is meant to frustrate the vendors as the Sea Defense Board and the Ministry of Public Works continue to send mixed signals. Meanwhile, the proprietor of Sea Rock Sports Bar, Horace Knights, said after investing $40 million in his business, he was told that the entire prefab structure would have to be removed with immediate effect, some 7 months after opening for business in September of last year. Mr. Knight said the one-day notice given to business operators in the area is totally insufficient and unreasonable, noting that he paid his fees in full for the entire year.
I'm an investor in this country. I'm a local investor. Last time I checked, I have a board certificate. I'm a Guyanese, right? And if I could invest in excess of $40 million, even though it's not my land, you should consider me in some way. But you just can't come and meet in 3 o'clock and ask me to start moving by tomorrow. That's not how you treat investors. According to Knights, the prefab structure, which is not built into the ground, was constructed in accordance with the specifications laid out and approved by the Commission. However, he installed shutters to secure his investment. But all I did is put on shutters. So they look at the whole thing as if it's an enclosed space. But I had to put on shutters because people will come in and vandalize, will come in and sleep and all this stuff, right? So I put on shutters to secure it, right? I started build out here when I said this thing, I'm prefab home and I bring it out. I started build out here since March month. Everybody passed to see me building. From March to the 8th of September, that's when I opened, right? I had no problem. They row about this. I explained to them what is it. Nothing is in the ground. Everything is just rest. It's 4x4 galvanized hollow section. But Minister of Public Works Juan Edgel today told news source that the vendors were forewarned that they were in breach of the contract issued by the Sea Defense Board. Alluding to that contract, Minister Edgel said the vendors were not given permission to use permanent structures, and as such, all containers, sheds, and other permanent structures would be removed.
The containers that they have put down all will be removed because they don't have permission to put down permanent structures. That is the issue. It's not about vending.
Okay, and what about the sheds? I know some would have built sheds too. Would those sheds have to be removed?
Of course, nobody got permission to build sheds. And this is not something that started since now. I can tell you that officially. We have been on this for months. We have broken down 17 or more pit latrines. They didn't complain about that. That's what they had in the seawall. People are living there now.
According to the contractual agreement between the vendors and the Sea Defense Board, all vending structures must be mobile, aesthetically beautiful, and modestly sized, not exceeding a planned area of 100 square foot. According to the contract, acceptable structures include collapsible tents, vending trucks, vending carts, and similar structures, which can be easily transported. And all structures must be removed from the seawall daily. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Guyana's landscape is set to immensely transform, with some $221.4 billion earmarked to fast-track the country's infrastructural development. To improve accessibility, $204.1 billion was budgeted for roads and bridges. Some $6.9 billion will be going towards strengthening the country's river and sea defense, $8.1 billion and $2.3 billion for improved river and air transport respectively. These projects are supported by the country's first $1 trillion budget, which was supported by oil revenues.
It's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man Do a Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands: Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
But when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm on here, baby, that's get me young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week, Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man to a Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592Ts, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rum. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man to a Skylark.
Love knows no boundaries of time. It transcends the ages, forever etching its mark on our hearts. Super Stylistics, in collaboration with the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport and the Government of Guyana, present Timeless Love, the 31st production of the Mother and Daughter Pageant 2024 at the National Cultural Center, a celebration of a unique family bond and flawless, flamboyant fashion. Glitz, glamour, and grand giveaways for lucky patrons too at the 2024 Mother and Daughter Pageant, National Cultural Center, May 11 from 20 hours, preluded by red carpet. Tickets $6, $5, and $5,000. It's Timeless Love.
This evening, the Ministry of Health is warning persons about having their surroundings in a state that could encourage the breeding of mosquitoes, as cases of dengue in the country continue to rise. Dengue is a mosquito-borne virus. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony revealed today that since the start of this year, Guyana has recorded a total of 2,852 cases of the dengue virus. He said more than 11,000 tests were done, and 2 deaths from the dengue virus have been recorded so far for this year.
For this year, we were able to do approximately 11,240 tests so far. And of those tests, we have identified 2,852 persons who have tested positive for dengue. And of those persons who have tested positive, we have seen 265 of them needing some form of hospitalization. We have had, so far for the year, we have had 2 deaths resulting from dengue.
The health minister also explained that his ministry has already intensified fogging in all of the regions, and there will be increased fogging exercises in the coming days.
The regions that are affected would be regions 4, 2, 10, 6, 9, and 1. And so we continue to have intensive monitoring of these regions. Now, since it's a mosquito-borne infection, the way that we can prevent the transmission of dengue is to make sure that we kill the mosquito. Now, how can we do that? Well, one way is to fog various breeding sites, and we have intensified fogging in almost all of the regions. We have teams that go out and do the fogging, and mosquitoes have a particular time in which they would be more active. So in the evenings, that's the time when they're most active, and early in the mornings. So our teams would generally go out in the evenings to do the fogging, and then early in the mornings. So right now we have various teams across the country doing this. The ministry, we have bought a lot of the chemicals that are needed for fogging, and we have a number of fogging machines.
And Dr. Anthony explained that there are 4 types of the dengue virus, and being diagnosed with one type does not make a person immune to the other 3 types.
If you were infected with one type of dengue virus, it doesn't give you immunity for the others. And very often, if you were infected with one type of the virus and then subsequently got infected with another type, then for those patients, we see that they have a more severe form of dengue. Clinically, what we have noticed is that the dengue disease, if you like, once you're infected, a person would go through 3 phases. The first phase is a febrile phase, and that can last maybe from 1 to 3 days. In more extreme cases, it can go up to 7 days.
The health minister explained that the symptoms can range from a fever and a headache to vomiting and the passing of blood in the urine or feces.
In that first 3 days, people would have symptoms of fever. That's why we generally call it the febrile phase. For most people, that after that 3rd day, fever would subside, they'll start getting better. But for some people who get the more severe form of dengue, you move from that febrile phase into what is called a critical phase. And that can last between 24 to 48 hours. During that period, what is happening in the body, you will have plasma would leak into various parts of the body. And that can result in severe dehydration of that person. And plus you can have bleeding. So the person then goes into shock if they're not treated appropriately and in a timely manner. They can go into shock. And we also see various forms of bleeding in that person. And you can see signs of that by changes in the skin. So you can have spots on the skin, rashes and so forth. And some people might be vomiting blood. Others might complain of abdominal pains. And if somebody goes to the toilet, you can see dark stool.
There could also be a loss in the appetite and internal bleeding. The Ministry of Health is encouraging persons who may exhibit symptoms of dengue to visit the health center or the nearest hospital urgently. Turning now to the oil and gas sector, Senior Petroleum Coordinator at the Ministry of Natural Resources, Bobby Gasai Jr. has indicated that a petroleum production license and its accompanying environmental permit issued to the ExxonMobil company for its 6th development offshore Guyana at Whiptail offer greater reporting mechanism and environmental safeguards. In a recent interview with the Energy Perspective podcast, Gasai said the petroleum production license and the environmental permit build upon the previous PPLs, including those granted for Payara Yellowtail Uaru, as well as the Liza 1 and Liza 2 development projects.
There were some improvements that were done in the Payara license. One of it was in terms of the reporting requirement itself, in terms of the reserve, in terms of monitoring, and in terms of penalties. Especially when it comes to conditionalities of flaring. And we have improved on that from Payara into the Yellowtail, into the Waru, and now into Whiptail production.
He said, as is the case with the license issued to date, Exxon and its partners are required to submit periodic reports for the development of the Whiptail project to the minister with responsibility for the oil and gas sector. It was also noted that such reports will provide critical insight on the project, including on the petroleum reservoir and the commercial viability of the investment. The $12.7 billion development is expected to produce 250,000 barrels of oil daily, bringing total production to 1.3 million by the end of 2027. That's 1.3 million barrels of oil per day. The development will include up to 10 drill centers with 48 production and injection wells, while the construction of the floating production and offloading vessel identified for the development remains in progress.
In order to manage a production facility of 250,000 barrels of oil per day, you have to continuously be monitoring the technical operation, which is part of the requirements of the license, as well as the operational requirements of the facility that are in place. And what we want to do is to make sure that there are monthly reports that come to the minister, there are quarterly reports, half-yearly reports, and ultimately we will see the annual updates on what is happening. And we are already doing that with the current production facilities that are in place. We wanted to make sure that Whiptail carry on that same level of reporting requirements that are required for production data, whether it is the gas to be injected, the water to be produced.
Mr. Gosai also said the issuance of the environmental permit allows for environmental monitoring, but also the implementation of a number of environmental safeguards.
In terms of the environmental safeguards, it's not only about the marine resources that are out there, but as well as the health and safety of the workers offshore, that we wanted to make sure that we subscribe to international standards and practices that are in place at the time in which the license is being developed and the permits are given. But as you know, these are not static documents. These are dynamic. It changes over time as the conditionalities improve.
The government anticipates that oil production from this 6th development will generate billions in revenues for Guyana, thereby supporting significant economic and social upliftment for the country and its people.
Purple Arts Productions presents A Treat for My Mother's 7 on Mother's Day Sunday, May 12. Heard with Marshall and Strings, Barbara Lee, Leona Walton, Young Nelson, and others. Golden Jewelry for the best dressed mother in purple. 8 p.m. at the National Cultural Center. Tickets $3,000 and $2,500. Compliments of NDNS Furniture Store, Noodle Cake Creations, Essential Care Pharmacy, Sunflower Jewelry, a Purple Arts Theatre production.
Linden, it's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man to a Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands: Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
But when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm gonna be that get me young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week, Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man Tour Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592 Tees, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rums. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man Tour Skylark.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Seawall Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
The Central Islamic Organization of Guyana, together with the Muslim Youth Organization of Guyana and the Guyana Islamic Trust, today presented President Irfan Ali with a check totaling $110.8 million for the people of Palestine. Since October of last year, more than 34,000 people, most of them women and children, have been killed in Gaza as Israel wages war on Hamas. The funds, which will be handed over to the UN Relief and Works Agency, will assist in providing humanitarian relief for the people of Palestine. President Ali, during the handing over ceremony at the office of the president, said the funds were raised through the support of Guyanese from all walks of life and represents an indication of the country's united stance on the maintenance of global peace and the advancement of the human race. He said Guyana will continue to champion the rights of the Palestinian people.
We continue to work with global partners to ensure that the people of Palestine get what they deserve. And what they deserve is to live in peace, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and they deserve to live in a land in which women and children are not killed and bombed on a daily basis. They ask for nothing more and they deserve nothing less.
And the president also said the country will continue to support the global effort to bring peace to the people of Palestine and support all efforts in allowing Israel to understand that its actions are not in keeping with the UN Charter and the stability of the region.
This is, as we have said, a brutal attack on humanity. And we also, as a country, support every effort to build a safe society in which any act of terror, any act that seeks to destabilize, any act that seeks to weaken the fabric of society, we condemn equally.
Director of the Central Islamic Organization of Guyana, Sheikh Mounul Haq, said the fundraising initiative was launched by the president, and on the culmination of the holy month of Ramadan, approximately $110.8 million in humanitarian aid was raised for the people.
Guyanese from various strata of society once again demonstrated their characteristic generosity through their donations and after 27th night, through transfers to a special GBTI account. The overwhelming support forced an extension of the period of donations to be made. The funds raised will be handed over today to His Excellency, then will be delivered to the UNRWA, United Nations Relief and Workers Agency for Palestinian refugees, to assist those affected by the ongoing war.
Hacks said the Islamic community believes that what continues to unfold in Gaza is nothing short of genocide, and the continued war has been particularly difficult for all members of the Muslim community. An Air Europa flight heading to Spain from Peru was forced to make an emergency landing yesterday afternoon here in Guyana after a passenger became seriously ill on board. After getting clearance from the control tower at the Chedijagan airport, the plane touched down at around 3:20 yesterday afternoon. The airport's ambulance and medical teams were on high alert and were able to assist the sick passenger. After an initial assessment by medical officers at the airport, the passenger was first taken to the Diamond Hospital, then transferred to the Georgetown Hospital for emergency care. In a statement, the Chedijagan Airport extended thanks to all stakeholders who were part of the support teams when the emergency flight landed. As part of its efforts to ensure safer waterways, the Ministry of Public Works has announced that boat operators who provide water taxi services will soon face random drug and alcohol consumption tests. The move forms part of the measures to get boat operators to be much more disciplined with their work and safer when operating those boats. During a meeting with the speedboat operators and Minister of Public Works Juan Edgel today at various points of operation, it was explained to the boat operators that if they are ever tested positive for drug or alcohol consumption, their operations license will be terminated.
From now, I have instructed MARAD to carry out random testing for alcohol and drugs on all captains and operators. Random testing. You are operating a public transportation. You can't hide and drunk and driving people picnic on the waterway. They're coming to an end. And let me tell you about the random testing. The doctor will come or the medical person will come randomly with MARAD. They gotta show your license and they will draw blood and they will do the test. Depending on the results, they will determine the way forward.
There have been previous complaints of boat operators at work consuming alcoholic drinks while traversing the waterways with passengers. The minister said the safety of passengers and the safe use of the waterways are priority areas for his ministry, which overlooks the operations of river taxis. During the visit to the Bartica, Supernam and other areas today, the minister also warned the operators about the unauthorized increase in fares. He said such increases will not be tolerated.
Purple Arts Productions presents A Treat for My Mother's 7 on Mother's Day Sunday, May 12. Sean Bullock, Bernie House, Charmaine Blackman, Ronald Green, and others. Golden jewelry for the best dressed mother in purple. 8 p.m. at the National Cultural Center. Tickets $3,000 and $2,500. Compliments of Survival Shopping Complex. The Simcoe Trading, Secure Innovations and Concepting. A Purple Arts Theatre production, directed by Simone Dowding.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo. From its pristine rivers to its abundant resources, it's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, another important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Gaia has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall in the region. Argentina's President Javier Milei is revving up his attack on the country's deep fiscal deficit, doubling down on chainsaw spending cuts and blender austerity that squeezes purchasing power, and he hopes to bring down rampant inflation. The embattled country, facing drained central bank reserves and an annual inflation nearing 300%, posted a third straight month fiscal surplus in March, a reflection of Milei's laser focus on cost cutting since taking office in mid-December. Milei, an economist and political outsider who snatched a shock election win last year with regular campaign rallies wielding a chainsaw as a symbol for his planned cuts, now faces a race against time to turn the economy around. Voters, angry after years of economic malaise on their left and right governments, seem for now willing to give Milei a chance. But tensions and protests are starting to simmer, with a major anti-government march on Tuesday over education budget cuts. The Caribbean Conference on Sustainable Tourism Development, better known as the Sustainable Tourism Conference, launched on Monday in Grenada. Regional and international experts will be meeting during this time to discuss the issues, challenges, and opportunities that face tourism in the Caribbean and the best ways to move forward to ensure a profitable and sustainable industry. The event will host over 50 speakers over 2 days who will shine a spotlight on the essential pillars that are crucial for fostering a legacy that is transformational under the theme, the 5 Ps for a legacy of Caribbean tourism sustainability: people, planet, prosperity, purpose, and partnership. The opening ceremony saw a number of speakers, including Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell, Grenada's Minister of Tourism, Adrian Thomas, and head of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, Donna Regis Prosper. And finally tonight, international news. The United States is preparing a $1 billion military aid package for Ukraine, the first to be sourced from the yet-to-be-signed Ukraine-Israel bill, 2 U.S. officials told Reuters on Tuesday. The aid package includes vehicles, air defense munitions, additional ammunition for high-mobility artillery rocket systems, and other weapons that can immediately be put to use on the battlefield, the officials said. President Joe Biden had asked the U.S. Congress to provide $60.8 billion in aid to Ukraine, but the initiative stalled when Republicans in the House of Representatives refused to move the measure forward for months. On Tuesday, the Senate was expected to vote on 4 bills, now passed by the House. One for Ukraine, a second with $26 billion for Israel, a third with $8.12 billion to counter communist China in the Indo-Pacific, and a fourth that includes a potential ban on the social media app TikTok. The Ukraine bill also calls for the transfer of Army tactical missile systems with a range of up to 190 miles, which Kiev has pledged not to use inside Russia's territory. Russia has increased its long-range bombardment of Ukraine's energy infrastructure and its cities in recent weeks. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.